and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So that was quite a short intro today, but I thought the shorter the better because it added to the vibe of today's build. But today I did build a rundown apartment building, which I haven't done too many like rundown areas. If I think of anything, the closest I've ever done is probably the Cyber City. And the Cyber City is like slightly rundown. It's not completely rundown. It's like it's got its own niche to it. But this time I decided to do a rundown apartment building. Now you won't see it because I would have cut out little bits of it where it gets extremely glitchy. But I did try and download OBS and I did try to use it, but I don't understand the mechanics of it. So I think I might spend the next Saturday, Sunday just trying to get my head around OBS because when I used it, it was my game was very laggy. And then the recording itself was even worse. And I think it's because I need to lower something. I tried to watch a tutorial on YouTube and it was awful. I didn't get what was going on. This is really bad because I used to work at a gaming cafe. So you would think I understand how to use OBS because we used to host a lot of tournaments. We used to host like CSGO tournaments and League of Legends tournaments and FIFA tournaments all the time. And all of that required OBS studios. OBS. And I used to work alongside one of my co-workers and she was really proficient in it. But myself, apparently, I don't understand how to like sync in information because when I downloaded it and I tried to use it, I was like, this is so much easier at work. Why can I not do it now? And I feel a bit embarrassed to go and message my old colleagues and be like, hey, how do you use OBS? Because the last time I messaged them was when I was asking for some tax information regarding my previous job. And it's like, I've got this really bad habit where I don't message my coworkers that often unless it's like to do with work. And I think some people will be like, well, that's your coworkers. And I do get that. And I do totally understand that. But sometimes I don't, to be fair, they don't message me either. But it feels more awkward on my end. And I think it's just because I was always like slightly out of it, just because I only ever played The Sims whilst everyone else played very like intense games. So I think that might be I was just always like slightly out of the loop, but it wasn't because they will purposely take me out of the loop. It's just we had different niches, we had different vibes. They were mainly gamers. I was mainly like a media person. So it's all ever. This was whatever. I don't mind that. But yeah, surprise me, I don't have too much to talk about that's not to do with the build today. But today I did decide to do this rundown apartment because it has been suggested to me to do some sort of rundown thing. So I think I've been suggested to do something rundown that's British. And then another thing that was rundown that I don't quite remember. But either way, it's all been rundown stuff that I've been suggested. And I really love the idea of rundown things because it goes aligns with what I love about builds when they look very lived in. Now, it's juxtaposing just because this place looks lack of life, but it shows that people used to live there. They didn't take care of it the way they should have done. And now it looks like the way it looks like now. And I really, really love how it came out. And surprisingly, it took me under 2 hours to build, which is really funny because it's never took me such little time to wait. Actually, now I think about it, the whole this it wouldn't take it will probably slightly take it over 2 hours, but there was a portion where I just did the wallpaper and flooring without recording it because it's repetitive and I didn't want to showcase that. But I don't think that would have took me to like too much over. And that thing you just saw on the screen, that tower thing, that was basically referencing what I was talking about the other day when I said that there is a lot of things in the Strangerville pack that can be used to make an airport. So I'm really, really lucky and really excited to be doing all of that. Glitch I've ever seen. I don't know if it's glitching just because of the G shade I'm using in addition to the what's it called, Xbox thingy, because I'm 99% sure now that it is my Xbox thingy. But honestly, I'm just gonna have to keep trying with OBS and see how it goes, because I'm not too sure if this. And I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be yawning. That's really inappropriate. I'm sorry about that. It's just because what time is it? It's 11 o'clock. But today was a non-build day. So it wasn't like I'm tired because I've been building a day. I was watching a lot of films today, which I was really happy about, because it's always nice to watch a good film and it's always nice to read a good book. But I read books all the time. Like when I say all the time, like it's actually scary how much I read books. Okay, that makes me seem like I read books a little too much. I have changed. Do you know how on your, if you have an iPhone, you have that reading app that says this is your record of how many books you've read in a year. Last year I read well over 200 books, so I had to extend that to 300. But then this year I haven't read nearly as much books as I did last year, which makes me question what on earth was I doing last year. But this year, I think how many books have I read? Because I remember I shortened it down to 250, and I'm pretty sure there's 70 books left for the year, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do 70 books in the remaining days of the year. How many books I normally, how long it takes me to finish a book, roughly depending on the length of the book. It does take me, especially now since I'm focusing a lot more with sim speed, was something, it used to take me a day, like a day of straight up reading. It could take me a day. And when I say a day, I mean like a good borderline. How many hours? Like 16 to 18 hours. Like I'll get 6 hours of sleep, and anytime my eyes even open, I'll go straight into reading again. So I used to like I used to be able to do like a book a day, but now I read about how it takes. It took. I was reading this really short book. How many pages was it? It was like, I think it was 250 pages. It's a really short book. It's not the length of books that I normally read. And it took me, how long did it take me to read? It took me a week, because it's not because I didn't like it, but it's just because I wasn't like so much in a rush to finish it. But I really do love to read. I read a lot, but like this year, I haven't read that much. And honestly, even reading up to 100 books is an achievement. Even reading up to 10 books a year is an achievement. Even reading one. Like, it's a privilege to be able to read a book, because it's not like watching a show, watching a film, where sometimes you can be doing other things and it could be just like running in the background. No, to read a book, it takes your full attention. So I'm really grateful I was able to just go and explore these different worlds and these different stories this year. Honestly, I think it's just such a privilege being able to read so many books and be able to go into these different places in your mind and everything like that. I really love reading. Um yeah, so what else was I supposed to talk about besides the reading thing? Oh yeah, I today I was talking about how I did film. I was watching a lot of films today. So I did get to read some of my book today, but I was also primarily watching films, because as I told you before, I work in entertainment, and it's always good to just constantly watch different types of entertainment so I can feel inspired to continue going and stuff like that. So I was watching some films today. One of them was called Watcher, I believe, and Watcher is, I forgot the director. I'm so sorry. But a lot of people, actually, I forgot the actor's name as well, but she's being chased in two films now. So she's quite, you'll be able to like recognize her if you type in the film's name. So I watched it, and honestly, the cinematography in it was amazing. I loved it. I thought it was really beautifully shot. And it just, everything was just so coherent. It's easy to follow along with. Everyone was great. But I think since I have such a entertainment mindset, and I've studied these types of entertainment for the longest time, I don't like being the type of person to be like, oh, I've studied film, so I can spot that, I can see that. You've done it wrong. This is so cliche. I don't want to, I'm really not that type of person. I hope I'm not that type of person, but you never know. You can't really see these things about yourself. It's what other people tell you and how they perceive you to be when it comes to these certain things. But I try not to be in that type of mindset. And sometimes I like to be the type of person that can just let a film be. And within this film, all I kept thinking about when I was watching it, it was like, it's this trope, it's this trope, it's this trope, it's this trope. And I was trying to tell myself that it's okay to be a very tropey like film. I actually really, really adore films that are very tropey, cliche, very that kind of vibe in a film. And there is what film? The Da Vinci's Code. I that is just that you can spot the mystery. You can spot the way the film is supposed to be going straight away just by watching it. And it's not really that much of like a head turner. Like it's very clearly what it is. But it's also really interesting in that aspect to watch because then you're not really watching it with brain fatigue, thinking that, okay, I need to solve this mystery first or solve it alongside these people. You can really just admire the film for what it is. And I think that is something that Watcher could have potentially been if it had more development like Da Vinci's Code. With Da Vinci's Code, I do not mind that the plot was very cliche because the story was there. There was this intrinsic story about these complex characters and this complex settings, and there was just so much going around that it was a good balance between the two compared to The Watcher where there was a very clear plot, but there wasn't that much story. And I don't like saying that because I do feel like The Watcher does play and does display a lot of really good points. Can you hear me getting into my film critic voice and tone? I'm sorry. I'll stop talking about this in a second, but you can really tell that I appreciate what The Watch is trying to do with its storytelling, with its plot, about how sometimes it's really annoying to be like gaslit in these situations about things occurring around you and no one believing you, and how it can feel when you're in this when you kind of singled out in this country that you've never been to, and all these things are going around you and you're trying to really reassure yourself and then losing the one person you trust in this entire situation. I understand and I appreciate what it was trying to tell. I think and it's just and I also appreciate the simplicity. It is a really highly rated film, so I'm not gonna critique it in the light of I think it's a bad film. I don't think there's many films that are bad films. I think there's just films that are on people's particular taste, and I'll say The Watcher wasn't my taste, but I do not regret watching it. I think it was really good to watch also in terms of just trying to understand entertainment. It was a great thing to watch when you're trying to understand entertainment. But then the second film I watched really was like similar but blew my head right off the park was wait, before I go into that, The Watcher did have a very satisfying end, so that's one thing I'll say. I really liked the way it ended. And then the second film I watched was Missing, which is that entire film which is shot like it's on a computer desk, and it was such a good film. I loved it so 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 much. I was obsessed, and there were a lot of cliche tropes in it, but it worked well, and I was so invested in the story. And it had that typical stories, again, spoiler alert, against spoiler alert. I don't even think I said spoiler alert for the other film, but I'm not trying to say anything too like spoilery. But it had that very typical, the daughter doesn't really get on with the mom, but then something goes on with the mom, and then she learns to treat her mom right. And I think that that was perfectly fine within the story because there was so many other things that were occurring. And they have this I'm not going to say it, but near the third in the third act there is this particular part where it's like, oh, that is so cliche, but it's also like that is so cliche that I was never expecting it to occur, but it did occur, and I am shocked because of it. So I thought it was a really great film. I really, really loved that film. So it's kind of interesting because I watched that film today, but I made this build. Was it yesterday or the day before? I'm not too sure. And it's just like after watching those films, it was like this build that I'm making now feels like it could be part of one of those films. It feels very mystery-esque. It feels like there's a mystery going on in this. Feels like there's a mystery going on in this building, and you just want to know what's going on. And I think that is just, it's just such a, it's just so, there's so much character, I would say, within this build. There is so much stories, so much history and everything like that. And I was surprised it took me such little time, since there is, I think, the most amount of detail within this build that I've ever done. But it was honestly so fun to make, and it was so fun to see the turnout, and I really enjoy it. And then after, because it's sunny at the moment, but after, when I started on my game and I changed all of the lights to make sure that they really match the vibe, and then what else did I do? I started to shift click on counters and sinks and toilets to make sure everything was dirty. And then I also made it snow. And I think it just really completed the entire look of this rundown apartment building. No one really takes care of it anymore, and someone still lives there, but really it's just, it's kind of been left, and it's kind of been neglected. And what I like about it is, I feel like not only is it great if you want to do storytelling in the terms of there is a mystery, there's something dark going on within this building, it's also great for the Sims 4 for Rent gameplay. I remember I saw in the trailer there was a like mold going on. There was, I think, flickering lights. So if you remember, I was obsessed with the flickering lights. And there was just a lot of apartment situations that were just very run down and very borderline derelict. And it wasn't the best. So I thought that this would be a really great build for people who want to explore that type of gameplay and basically buy a rundown apartment and fix it up. So I implore you to, when you download this build, or if you download this build, to change everything. This is borderline a shell. So when you download it, change up the living rooms, change up the wallpaper, start to get money and change up all the rooms. I would love, and I might do a challenge of this. It depends, but I would love if you guys downloaded this lot, if you like, and just made it into a challenge of, you just earn money and you just try and renovate it and turn it into as it was before, as good as new. And I think that would be such an interesting type of gameplay. So when you first buy it, you get your room, and then as the tenants give you money, you start going, maybe whatever you choose to do. But if I was to do it, I'll start with downstairs. So I think you saw there was a lot of empty shops, which is also death of the high street. Oh, it's really sad, because you see it a lot now, that there's all these shutters around these shops and everything like that. But downstairs there is all of these shops, and with all of these shops, you can just start to change them as you get money. So I originally in my head, but you don't have to do this along. You can really make it your own thing. But originally in my head, I had in mind that there was an ice cream shop, then there was a bakery, and then there was the entrance to the actual apartment part of the building, which I really love. I really love the entrance. The entrance looks so pretty, and it fits the vibe. And then I imagine if there was a bar and and then there was maybe, like, I don't know, a cafe or something like that. And there's the mini car park near the back and everything, but the video's almost done. Okay, I need to really finish my points. But in terms of what is included in this, there is a 1-bedroom apartment, there is a loft apartment, and then there is a 2-bedroom apartment included in this, as well as 4 potential community spaces. Everything has been play tested, but one thing I'll say, with the messed up rooms downstairs, you will have to like change. You can't access the counters, you can't access everything, because to make it look a bit more messy, I did have to change up the positions of things, and there is garbage literally everywhere. So it will be quite difficult to access the counters, to clean them up, and your sim will just be like, I want to clean it. Just tell them to because you can't clean it. You will have to go into build by, get rid of the garbage there and move it so it becomes accessible to your sims, but everything else should be fine. And yeah, I think that's all for the video. I feel like there is still so much to say, but I can't think of it right now. So I'm gonna let you guys watch the whole house tour without me in the background. Also, just to say, I am now a YouTube partner member. I forgot, how did I forget that? I wanted to say that I saw it yesterday as I was what was I doing? I was actually editing yesterday's video and then I got the email and I was like, congratulations, EmeraldStories, you are now a YouTube partner. And I was like, okay, thank you. So you guys can support the channel if you want to, but don't worry, you're still supporting me just by watching these videos. So don't worry about all of that. Like, even ignore, pretend I didn't even say that. Let's just watch this video. I'm so sorry. I've completely forgot about that. But yeah, I am now a YouTube partner, so that's really cool. That's really interesting. And yeah, so I think that's all I really had to say. All the details about this lot and how to download it through the gallery. All my details will be in the description as always. Oh yeah, and how to a whole channel rebrand. If you saw, yeah, I'll talk about that in the next video. There's a video tomorrow. I'll talk about that then. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching this. Oh wait, oh so sorry. And the packs that I use, the main packs that I use within this build are Strangerville, Werewolf, Eco Lifestyle, Horse Ranch, and City Living. So those are the main packs. I've used multiple packs, but those are the bulk of the packs that I've used. So you should get most of the stuff if you have those packs. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you want, but if you don't want to, that's also okay. I appreciate you staying this long and listening to all of my ramblings. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I read all of your comments, the more the merrier, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.